I'm supposed to be meeting my architect this week to talk about the can of worms that my renovation project is probably going to turn into. And the road is looking a lot clearer after last week's snowstorm, which is positive. But there's about 30 metres between my car and the road, which isn't looking nearly as clear. So that's the first thing on my list for the week. You can probably hear, but it's really windy. It's 2 degrees, feels like -9. So the quicker I can shovel this snow, the quicker I can go back inside. That's going to have to do for today because my arms can't take any more. Hopefully it'll warm up a little bit overnight so I have less to shovel tomorrow. After the snowiest week that I've ever seen, the temperature's risen to an almost tropical 6 degrees, which has taken care of quite a lot of my snow shoveling for me. But I'm going to clear some of the remaining snow out of the chicken area because they are not on board with walking in it, and they've spent a week trapped in their run already. We got through the snow relatively unscathed, apart from the carport, which, let's face it, had seen better days about 20 years ago, and didn't take too kindly to having a huge amount of snow sitting on the roof for the best part of a week. One of the beams in the little covered section snapped completely, and one in the big open area is hanging on by a thread. I'm going to be taking this down in the spring, but I've got a couple of projects that I'd like to work on undercover if possible. So I want to try and prop it up and make it as safe as possible until then. I really need to use some of my salvage materials and clear space to put things when the renovation starts, because aside from this, I've got an entire shed full of stuff I've been saving in case it comes in useful. My dad would be so proud. My mum would probably be rolling her eyes. One side done, just the slightly scarier side left to go. This is obviously where I keep my most treasured possessions. It's absolutely not perfect, but I have no intentions of coming back into this bit until I'm taking it down. So as long as it holds for a couple of months, that's good enough for me. The chickens are so happy the snow's melting and they're back outside, and I can relate to that because I'm having a really nice day, just happy to be outside. It's been pretty cold here for the last couple of weeks, and even though I haven't been as busy as usual, shoveling snow and learning to ski is working up a bit of a sweat. I've been looking for a replacement natural deodorant for a while, and I'm excited to be partnering with Fussy for this week's ad. I've been using natural deodorants for about a year, but I wanted to switch to something a little bit more sustainable, and the new year seemed like a good time to change things up. Fussy aims to banish single-use plastic from your daily routine, and that's something that I am definitely on board with. Their unique odour neutralising probiotic formula works for over 24 hours. It's natural, vegan, and as well as being cruelty free, it's paraben and aluminium free as well, so it's good for you and the planet. The refillable pebble shaped case is made with recycled, recyclable plastic, and it's quick and easy to refill. Simply open the case by removing the lid and squeezing the sides, drop in your plastic-free refill and twist up from the bottom and you're ready to go. The empty refills can go straight into your home compost. Fussy make refilling easy with plastic-free refills in a range of amazing scents delivered straight to your armpits every month. Let's leave antiperspirants in 2025. Use code JUDE for 15% off your first Fussy purchase. I had a meeting with my architect this morning to talk about the next steps of my renovation project. And if I'd have known 18 months ago when I was sitting on the doorstep to the house recording my very first video and panicking because I didn't know how the hot water worked back when I had hot water, how much work this renovation was going to be and how much of a project it's going to be, I probably would have crawled into a hole and never come out again. But 18 months down the line, I'm a little bit anxious and stressed about it, but I'm trying to frame it as an adventure and not as a potential disaster. And I've spent all afternoon since I got back having a look at caravan renovation videos online because there is a very large chance that I will be living in a caravan for quite a while. Initially, I'd planned to renovate half the house, renovate the barn half, and move into that while I renovated the cottage half, because that's what the previous owners were planning on doing when they had the property. But looking at it, there is no way to make that a cost-effective way of doing anything, and it's going to be a lot more money than I thought it was anyway, so I need to not make it more expensive. And I am not going to be able to live in the house while the work is being done. So I need to find alternative accommodation, which is going to be an adventure. And I need to get my head around that over the next couple of months while I'm waiting to get the quotes for the work that I'm contracting out back. And yeah, kind of nervous about that, but it's going to be fun. I'm trying to view it, in a positive frame of mind. I don't work very well if I don't have a plan. I need to know exactly what's happening so I can sort of set it out and get my head around it. But I think it'll be fun. So if you've lived in a caravan and have any advice, let me know. In an ideal world, I would have moved in with my family for a while, but even if they were still alive, they lived 600 miles away, so there'd have been absolutely no use. If we live in a caravan, you have to learn how to use a cat flap, because we cannot be having a great big open hole in a door in such a small space. We all have to grow and evolve as people. I had a few comments from people saying, Jude, the tiles look lovely, but isn't that pattern going to come off as soon as you grout them or clean them? And quite possibly, but I believe if a job's worth doing, it is worth spending hours and hours over-researching and over-complicating, which might be how I ended up with the most over-engineered chicken coop in the northeast of Scotland. But I've got two different resin coats that I need to put on top of the tiles. The first one is just a clear epoxy resin that should hopefully seal the ink and stop it scratching off or fading over time. And the second one is a heat resistant resin that will go on top and stop the heat damaging the ink. and I'm going to do that now because they take quite a while to dry in between coats. So I've come up to my office because I can control the temperature kind of in here if I run the heater all the time, and it's got a door so I can shut the cat out because cat hair gets everywhere and I really don't want it on my fireplace tiles. I'm not entirely sure this is a success. I guess we'll find out in the morning. Before I go and work outside for the day, I've come upstairs to check on my tiles, and they're not looking too bad. After seeing how the resin reacted with the ink on my practice tile last night, I was kind of preparing myself for the worst, but they don't look too bad. They're a bit blurrier and more smudged than I was hoping for, but I think they'll work. It's not exactly Delft, but it'll do for a temporary makeover, and should I decide to hand paint tiles at some point for the bathroom or the kitchen post-renovation, I'll come up with another way of doing it, but I think they'll work. I did zero research on how to use the resin, and I've never used resin before, so it's a little bit cracked. I'm not sure if that's because I didn't do a thick enough layer or if it was too warm or too cold. I mean, it was probably too cold. I did leave the heater on all night, but you know, I did the best I could, and I think it kind of gives it a nice old charming character look. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. And I think they'll look quite nice around the fire when I get around to it, hopefully next week. Making over my fireplace before starting a renovation probably seems a bit silly, especially as I'm hoping that come the end of spring I won't be using the fire anymore, and at some point in the very distant future I'll have a wood burning stove that'll be safer and more efficient. But I bought all of the supplies for this project back in November when I hadn't had my building warrant through and I had no idea when work was likely to start on the renovation. I still don't know when it's likely to start, but I'm hoping that it will start before next winter. Fingers crossed. And I've got everything for it now. And I'm sure someone will say that it's probably a complete waste of my time, but I'm hoping that I can get it done in about a week or so. So it won't be wasting that much of my time, and I might learn something. So is that really a waste? I don't know. I've spent way too much time this week overthinking renovation logistics, and I've given myself a mouth ulcer. So I'm having a break before I give myself an actual ulcer, and I'm going to spend the rest of the day outside doing some manual labour instead. I got all this soil from one of my neighbours who's a landscaper. He'd cleared it all out of someone's garden and thought I might have a use for it. I feel like I don't talk about how great my neighbours are often enough. They're brilliant, and when you've moved somewhere new entirely on your own, that makes the world of difference. And I'm not just saying that because half of them seem to watch these videos. That's 2 done. The other 2 are going to have to wait because pushing a barrow full of soil is hard enough work without having to drag it through snow as well. Some weeks are for progress and some weeks are for planning, although I don't feel like I did much of either this week. Next week I'm planning on distracting myself from renovation logistics with my fireplace makeover, and hopefully by next weekend I'll be finishing the week with a slightly safer, slightly prettier, fully functioning fireplace. And if the temperature would like to stay above 0 while the fireplace is out of action, that would be amazing. But it's currently -5 outside, so I'm not holding out much hope. Thanks to Fussy for sponsoring this week's video. See you next weekend.